Hey, everybody, and welcome to day 23 of 30 Days of How to Be Successful. We've almost reached the end of our time together, but I am thankful for the opportunity to be able to share this amazing content with you thus far and just impart and influence and impact your life. And so, for those that may be here with us for the first time, the good news is you can go back and catch every session right here on this Facebook page, Jody Almond Going All In, or you can go to my YouTube page at The Solution and type in just search bar The Solution Jody Almond, and it'll pull up those videos. You can subscribe there. You can stay in touch with everything that's happening there, and you can catch up on all the videos, all 23 days. So that's fantastic. Thank God for technology. But in this session today, I want to continue talking about the discussion we're involved in time management. I've already shared with those who are watching and you who are watching, I've already shared with you the importance of discovering your purpose, developing your purpose, as well as your potential predators that are out to kill your potential. And now we've been discussing time management. And I have one or two more sessions, maybe three, that I really want to hone in on this time management understanding. And so as we jump in today, let's get started. Again, this is 30 Days of How to Be Successful with me, Jody Almond, and I am looking forward to being here with you and being able to share in these concepts with you today and just try to be a help to you. And so as we look into this tonight, I'm going to go into the slideshows and I'll be bouncing back and forth tonight, but I just want to jump in and start talking because, again, we are going to be discussing tonight some ideas and some things on time management. And I just want to help you as much as I can with this idea of time management and what it can do for you. So as we jump in, we're going to start talking tonight, and we're going to be dealing with, once again, time management tonight. And if I repeat myself, I apologize. By running this, it takes a moment to just get everything going, but I appreciate you working with me. So as we talk about time management tonight, I want to talk to you tonight about something very important, because when it comes to time management, there are success habits that should be built into your daily routine in order to face the challenges with staying on task. So there's things that you want built into everyday routine that you want to make sure that you have going on so that you can stay on task. And one of those things that I want to talk to you, and the thing I want to talk to you about tonight, is the idea of multitasking. Now, much research has proven that multitasking does not work. Listen, it doesn't matter if you are the businessman or the stay-at-home mom. I have both of these on the screen, and you can look. The businessman has 6 or 7 hands going. He's got a clock in one hand, a briefcase in another, a folder in another, a phone in another one, doing something else. And he's just got all these things going on. And he's trying to do them all at one time. And the mother over here, she's got a cat on the ironing board, a dog wrapped around her leg with a leash, a phone, an alarm clock, and trying to iron, and a baby getting milk, right? So no matter what's going on, multitasking is something we all talk about and we all think about. But I am going to help you with understanding the truth about multitasking tonight, because when you understand the truth about multitasking, you'll view it in a much different way, and you'll realize the reason some people are successful is because they've got a grip on the truth about multitasking. So as we look at that, let's jump in and let's continue our discussion. And so as we look at that, I want to talk to you tonight, because the thing is that when you understand multitasking, you understand the truth behind it. Did you know that it can take up to 5 minutes for your brain to properly refocus on a given thought process or task? In other words, when you are multitasking, in truth, what you're doing is what's called switch tasking. And it's where you can't, because scientifically, and I'll get into this in a moment, but scientifically it's been proven your brain cannot really focus 100% on one thing at one time. So what you're really doing is you're letting your brain switch between tasks. So in other words, if I am trying to, just like right now, that's what happened to me a moment ago, if I'm being honest. I'm trying to multitask, and I'm trying to run the slides. I'm trying to talk to you. I'm trying to read notes. I'm trying to do 3 or 4 things at one time. In truth, it would be much more efficient if I could concentrate on one thing at a time. When I'm trying to multitask, my brain is switching between what slide needs to be next. Okay, then I switch. What am I saying? Then I switch. Did I miss something in my notes? Then I switch. And see, you're switching, and you can't really do that. Over the years that I have been a pastor, I've been pastoring for over 20 years and speaking. And I usually try to have my material, for the most part, memorized, even a lot of times with this. And in memorizing it, it helps me because when I memorize my material that I have already researched, I've already written down or typed out, when I do that, I'm able much more efficiently to give the information and speak the information and be able to share with you how to imply or how to employ that information. But when I have to multitask, when I have to switch task, it makes it harder. And the reason why, again, is because it can take up to 5 minutes for your brain to properly refocus on the thought or task at hand. So when you continually jump from one task to another task, you cannot really focus and give any individual task the proper attention that it deserves. Now, with that being said, many of you are familiar with the gentleman I'm getting ready. I'm from the South, so we say fixing, okay? You're familiar with the gentleman I'm getting ready to mention to you. His name is Napoleon Bonaparte. And Napoleon won nearly 90% of his battles. A remarkable statistic, wouldn't you say, for a coach, but unheard of for a military commander. What military commander do you know, aside from Napoleon Bonaparte, that has won 90% almost of his battles? That is remarkable. Napoleon's great adversary, the Duke of Wellington, was once asked this question. They asked him, they said, who is the greatest general in your age, Mr. Wellington, Duke of Wellington? And Wellington replied, in this age, in past ages, and in any age, it should be declared Napoleon. So when you think about that, he's saying that Napoleon was the greatest general, the greatest military mind of any age, in his opinion. Now, Napoleon implemented something that I want to share with you tonight. Napoleon implemented something we call monotasking. So mono meaning one, all right? So he was monotasking instead of multitasking. And it's important because modern science has validated Napoleon's focused approach. We face a variety of demands every day, folks. We may believe we are an expert multitasker. I've picked for years about how women and men are different, and it seems women are usually more gifted at multitasking, but this proves that women can't even truly 100% to everything they're doing give attention in multitasking. And so what we find is that a lot of people will be doing that, but we have demands every day that are coming at us. And we may believe we're expert multitaskers, but multitasking truly is a myth. That's by a Stanford study that showed that rather than multitasking, as I've already alluded to, we merely switch tasks, which means we go back and forth between tasks. And what that does is that kills our performance and productivity. Focusing on one task seems daunting sometimes, but the truth is that if we spend as little as 5 minutes of monotasking, we can significantly boost the productivity in that area that we are working on. Highly effective people like Napoleon concentrate on one persistent task and one big goal. Let me ask you a question. How often are we distracted in everyday life? How often do we leave tasks incomplete and we can't mark them off our to-do list, if we will, or our planning or our priority list that we've talked about? Successful people avoid these costly switch tasking mentalities. You have limited resources at your disposal, and they are most effective when they're concentrated on. You see, a single-minded focus goal will make you more successful. Attempting to multitask only hurts your chances of success. As Napoleon said of war, and I'm going to show you a slide showing you this. As Napoleon said of war, the art consists in concentrating very heavy fire on a particular point. His words are as true in the boardroom, in your house, in your entrepreneurship, in everyday life as it is in the battlefield, right? So you need to understand that if we are going to be successful, and the reason many people are so successful is because instead of multitasking, they are monotasking. And I encourage you to monotask. Begin doing one task at a time. And you say, Jody, how can I implement this teaching? How can I become efficient and eliminate multitasking in my life? I'm glad you asked. And because you asked, I'm going to give you 5 ways tonight that you can begin monotasking, and eliminate your multitasking. Are you ready? So here we go. Here's 5 ways, and I've got them up on the board for you all at one time so you can see them on my sticky notes, right? 1 through 5. So number one, do your most difficult task first. What I mean by this is we've already talked about planning and prioritizing. So when you prioritize, try to make sure that you're prioritizing and having your most difficult task in the first block of your day. In other words, block off the first half of your day to complete those most difficult tasks or those tasks that take you out of your comfort zone. It's been proven by studies and statistics that the morning is when you will have the most energy. So you want to use it to your advantage and stop putting off the difficult or the important things by allowing the quick menial tasks to get in the way. You want to set a deadline for the important task. Okay? So set yourself a deadline. Now, if it's a huge task that you're undertaking, okay, let's say that, hey, let's say you're trying to refinish a car. You're trying to redo a car. You're trying to restore a vehicle. The thing is that if you're restoring a vehicle, it's not going to get done in a day, right? But you can take that, if that's your biggest task of the day, you can take that and you can work on that at the first part of your day on the days you segregate to work on it. And make sure that you give it your best attention because it is a task that is important and it is a task that you want to make sure you get accomplished. And so you want to make sure you do that. So you want to work on it at the first part of your day and set a deadline for those important tasks, even if it can't be accomplished. Working on that car, restoring that car, it may not be accomplished in a day or even a week. But if you could say, okay, if I dedicate this many hours every day, Monday through Friday, the first half of my day, how long will it take me to do this feasibly, adding 33% above what I think it'll take? Okay, so it's going to take me 6 months. So if I work on this every day, so for 6 months, then I can get it done. Setting deadlines is crucial to being successful in this understanding, right? Because what you want to do, just like if the book I'm writing now, I'm going to set a deadline and I'm going to say by this deadline, I want to have my book written. How many words do I want my book to be? I want my book to be, let's just say 150,000 words, okay? So then I take the time by the words and it tells me how many words I must write per day, depending on how many days a week I'm going to write. And then what I need to do is say, okay, so the best part of my day for me to think is the first half of the day. Let me block off the first half of my days on the days that I'm going to write, and I'm going to spend those hours writing and get my words in so that I can complete my mono task at that moment for that time block of getting this done. I'm not going to allow distractions. We've already talked about these things. And so I set a deadline, and that way by the time my day arrives, and my time arrives, I will have the completed project, and I will be more likely to complete it in a timely manner. Number 2, take regular breaks. Now, it's been told, the body runs on 90-minute energy cycles. So when you work longer than 90 minutes on a given task, your energy and your focus will begin to drain, and you'll begin to lose that focus. It's not only good for you physically to get up and take a short walk or bend or stretch or, go to the restroom, go, go get a fresh glass or a fresh soda of water, whatever. The thing you want to do is that you want to just get up and take a break. Take a little break from it, walk away, and you need that mental break to allow your brain to recharge and get ready for the next cycle. So you always want to take a regular break every 90 minutes. So every hour and a half, you want to give your mind and your body a break. You want to make sure that you're giving it a break so that you can come back re-energized and refocus on the task at hand. So in other words, if I'm writing my book and I've segregated 3 hours, then I'm going to, at somewhere between an hour to an hour and a half, I'm going to get up and take a little break. I'm going to just let my mind rest. I'm going to just take a break and get my mind on something else. I may walk outside and look at the nature around my house, such as the birds and the rabbits and the squirrels and whatever, or I may just go in and watch a little bit of news just to get my mind off of it. You walk around a little bit, go for a short walk around your yard, around your house. Just do something, stretch a little bit. Do something just to give your mind a break, because it's so important for you to be able to focus efficiently so that you can effectively complete the task at hand. Let's jump into number 3. Number 3 is do one thing at a time. Contrary, again, to the multitasker's creed, you'll actually get more tasks done by doing them individually. As well, you'll do it quicker and with fewer mistakes and less rework. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you tried to do a task while doing another task, switch tasking, or what we call multitasking? How many times have you tried doing that only to have to go back and fix something you messed up or do something over again? So often this happens. And then we get frustrated because we realize we didn't give it the focus and the attention it needed. Isn't it much smarter just to focus on what you're doing while you're doing it? I used the illustration yesterday of homeschooling, or many of you are teaching your kids and grandkids at home in this season. And so think about this. If you set your child down and you said, here, I want you to do reading, but listen, while you're reading, I want you to do math. And while you're doing math, I want you to do history. Do all 3 of them quickly and at the same time, and you can get up from the table and you're done for the day. Can I tell you what would happen? You would have answers from every other quiz or every other subject on every other paper. So you would have math answers on the history paper. You would have history answers in the English paper. You would have English answers in the math paper. It would be a wreck because this child is not geared, and no human being is, to switch tasks like that. And so what we do usually, this is why schools do this, in between subjects, they will give a break. And those breaks allow the mind to reset, walk through the hall, see your friends, get up and stretch, whatever, and then you go back to your desk, and now it's time for math. Now it's time for history. You see what's happening? See, we did this in school, and that's why we did well at our grades, but then somewhere along the way, we allowed all the demands of life to become so great that we're like the house mom and the housewife I showed in the picture, or the businessman, and we've got 2 cell phones to our ear, we're typing an email, and we're doing 3 or 4 things at once, and truthfully, it's not effective. It's going to lead to more problems than it is. So do one thing at a time. Number 4 on our sticky notes is to be present. Be present with your work and with those you are working with. Stay on your current task and do not let your focus float to other tasks. So in other words, if you know, let's go back to our mom image that we had on our picture, right? If that's what we're looking at, then here's what we want to make sure of. The mom should just iron the clothes. Iron the clothes. Okay? Or if the baby needs to be fed, feed the baby. When the baby lays down for a nap, iron the clothes. A little bit later, take the baby for a walk in the stroller and just have the dog walk with you, right? And then a little bit later, give the cat a little attention and rub it. She can do these things. The businessman can do the same thing. Be present. Try to give your 100% attention to the thing that you're doing at that moment, and make sure that you eliminate distractions. We've talked about this. Eliminate the cell phone, put it away, right? Put it away, put it in a drawer, Okay, put it over on the nightstand, put it over on in the desk, whatever, but put it on silent, put it away, and do what you've declared you want to accomplish in this monotasking, right? So let me give you number 5, and we're done for today. Now, I hope this has been a help to you. I really do. Finish before you start. Let me explain that to you. Make sure you finish a task. Now, again, if you're restoring a car, this isn't going to happen, right? But before you start restoring another car, finish the first car. I know a gentleman, as a matter of fact, here near me that has been featured in some of the hot rod magazines for his body and paint work. And he will take these classic cars and he will restore them for people and give them just a fantastic workover, and they look just pristine when he finishes up. What I learned from him is he will not jump from project to project. If he's working on a 55 Chevrolet, he's going to work on the 55 Chevrolet. Now, he'll work on a different aspect of the 55 Chevrolet, maybe from day in to day out and at different times throughout the day. But his focus is on the 55 Chevrolet. He's not going to go from a 55 to a T model to a 65 Ford truck to whatever. You know, he's just going to focus on the 55 Chevrolet. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. So here's the catch, is that can I give my attention to something the first half of my day and then other things the latter half? Sure, you can. But in the moments that you have designated by planning and prioritizing those items, give it your undivided 100% attention and do not move on until you've finished it. So in other words, you know, I'm not going to move to another thing I want to do tonight. Actually, my last thing to do tonight is spend time with my family. I'm not going to do that until I'm finished with this, because when I go in and sit down with my family, I want to give them 100% of my attention. I don't want to be having to say, I got to come and do this and do that with the live stream, and I have to cut away and I have to do this, or tell you, oh, I've got to go away and I've got to do things with my family. No, I want to give you 100% of my attention, and I want to be present right here, right now, and I want to give them 100% of my attention when I go to them. And so that's what I mean by finish before you start. You want to finish one thing because there is great productivity momentum in finishing things before taking and going to the next task. So, my friends, when we're talking about multitasking, right? When we're talking about multitasking, some key points that I've put up for you tonight that I want you to remember is the brain takes 5 minutes for it to properly refocus. So if you're switch tasking, you're never really getting focused. If you're all the time switch tasking and never just focusing on one project at a time, you're never going to have the success that good old Napoleon had, right? That good old Napoleon had. And he said you just need to concentrate all your energy on one particular point, just monotask, right? And so we want to make sure we're doing that. And the reason why is because when we get to where we're working on those things, we want to make sure that we are trying our best to be efficient. And by being efficient, we have to do these 5 things if we're going to be efficient monotaskers and eliminate multitasking from our vocabulary, right? Which isn't even a real thing, but we still use the word. So here we go. Here's what you need to do, right? Here's what you need to do. You need to do your most difficult task first. The first half of your day, block it off. So if tomorrow, if you have your priority list and you look at it and you say, well, wow, the thing I had at the end of the day is actually more difficult and more out of my comfort zone. So move it around. Do it first. Do it first, because it will not get accomplished if you don't. Number 2, take regular breaks. Your body runs off energy cycles of 90 minutes. Take a break. Take a break at least after an hour and a half and give yourself at least a 10-minute stretch, walk, rethink, drink of water, restroom break, whatever. Just take a regular break if it's over 90 minutes that you're working on any individual task. Number 3, do one thing at a time. Don't try to multitask. Eliminate it from your vocabulary. Do one thing, monotask. Number 4, be present. Whatever you're doing, give it your all. Give it 100% in the time that you're working with it. And number 5, do your very best to finish one project and task before you jump into another one. I assure you, if you talk to the most successful people in the world, and even going back as far as Napoleon and those who have ever lived, they will tell you we can only monotask. We're not efficient when we multitask or switch task. Studies have proven it. Looking at the brain while people are doing it, it's going to take you 5 minutes to regrip and refocus. And if you're constantly doing that the way some people are, you never are getting footing and grounding and focus, and you're constantly just wandering aimlessly about. I hope you can apply these teachings. I hope you will implement them. And I believe if you do, as a matter of fact, let me back up. I don't believe, I know if you will, because I've seen it work and it's proven to work, that it will work in your life. So quit multitasking, quit switch tasking, do one thing at a time. And let's think about it as we close today. The majority of accidents on our highway right now are happening because of people trying to multitask. They're trying to use their phones, texting while they're driving. They can't. And so they focus more on the texting. And before the 5 minutes can happen, they've had a wreck and sometimes even killed somebody. It's not worth it, friend. Don't kill your success by trying to multitask. I hope you have a great evening, and I can't wait to get with you again tomorrow. But until then, God bless.